Last week, City Manager George Proakis announced the appointment of Ryan Nicholson as Watertown's new fire chief. This week, Mr. Proakis is turning his attention to filling another major department head vacancy, Watertown Police Chief. Watertown City Manager George Proakis was joined by a few dozen residents at the Watertown Free Public Library this week for a community input forum to aid the city's search for a new chief of police.
So we're here tonight to talk about the police chief search process and what that means.
Joining the city manager was Jack Parrow, a former fire chief who recently aided Watertown's search for a new chief of the Watertown Fire Department, and retired Lowell Police Superintendent Ken Lavallee. Each of them outlined how the assessment center process will work to provide a list of top candidates for the manager to interview and eventually choose.
So our assessment center is typically, 4 or 5 different exercises that will evaluate that candidate against the criteria that from all these meetings and from the job description that we put together that we believe would meet the needs of the city of Watertown for their next police chief.
Many of the chiefs that we call upon to assist us in these assessment centers are experienced police chiefs, some active duty, some retired, who work within this region and are very, very knowledgeable about what happens here in communities like Watertown.
Thomas Rocca has been serving as chief of police since Michael Lawn's retirement last year. Chief Rocca will retire at the conclusion of his provisional tenure, and it seems more likely than not that Watertown's next chief will be one of its current 2 captains or 8 lieutenants.
I do believe that there is still a very broad-based range of choices from the internal staff to Watertown in terms of the police chief selection process. My indications so far have been that I intend to stick with that internal process.
The assessment center will utilize the feedback from residents in forming its list of candidates. On Monday night, multiple residents spoke about what they want their new chief to prioritize.
So what are you doing in terms of interviewing bias, or obviously you would have experiences as a white person that a person of color wouldn't have. I'm just wondering how we're going to really get to some of those biases.
So attrition, retention, these are things that are really critical. I'm concerned if we don't have the bench strength, it puts police officers in jeopardy. My sons are out there every night. I want someone that's going to look out for his officers. His safety is critical.
Current members of the Watertown Police Department staff have also been surveyed to get their input on the selection process. The city charter also requires the city council provide guidance to the manager before he hires any new department head. The assessment center process is expected to form a list of 3 candidates by the beginning of October, at which point the city manager will begin interviews. Now, despite the city manager's long municipal career, this is the first time he's ever had to appoint a new police chief. That full meeting from Monday night can be viewed on WCATV.org under the Government Channel tab. Reporting from out front the Watertown Police Department headquarters on Main Street, Dan Hogan, Watertown Cable News.